Hi guys, my name is Vasko. Today I'll be introducing TypeScript to you. It's cool, it's not JavaScript, just so you know. It's much cooler. Introduction. This is the lecture content. We're going to talk about what TypeScript is. I'm going to show you TypeScript in WebStorm. I know that you're familiar with WebStorm. TypeScript versus JavaScript versus CoffeeScript. And then data types and variables, functions and generics, class and inheritance, modules, and you have a secret bonus round, which is really cool. So this is nothing special. Questions will be at the end. So what is TypeScript? TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript, which primarily provides static typing, classes, and interface. What this means is that existing JavaScript code can be gradually modified to add typing information to improve the development experience. This is provided by better errors at compile time and by providing code completion during development. So what is code completion during development? This means that a context-aware code completion feature in some programming environments in TypeScript and some more. And this speeds up the process of coding and application by reducing typos and other common mistakes. So basically TypeScript follows the way you write and corrects your typos. It's an open source and it's supported by any browser, like JavaScript. So I'm going to show you now TypeScript in WebStorm. Let me fire up my WebStorm first. You already passed the JavaScript lectures, right? Okay, did you like it? The JavaScript? Okay. TypeScript is much better. So I'm going to show you now how to set up your WebStorm to work with TypeScript, and later I'm going to show you some demos on different aspects. So first you go here under File. I don't know if you can, yeah, I can see it. Under File, Settings. In order to compile in JavaScript in WebStorm, you need Node.js. And when you install your Node.js successfully, you need to reference the path here. So you enable TypeScript compiler. This is under Settings, under Language and Frameworks, and here it's TypeScript. So you make a reference to the path of Node.exe, and here on the command line options, you need to write a single piece of code. It looks like this. This means target ECMAScript 6. And you have to write this down in order to use some features in TypeScript you'll see later. For example, getters and setters and these kind of things. So when you do that, you apply, and basically you're good to go. And now your WebStorm will be friends with TypeScript. But this is JavaScript, so okay. So that's for setting up. It's pretty easy. After you install your TypeScript, then you install Node.js. If you don't have it, then the reference. And that's that. So I'm going to show you now the TypeScript lang. This is the website of TypeScript. You can get it here. You can download it if you don't have it. So here you have a handbook. Under Learn, you have tutorial, handbook, samples, and language spec. This is pretty handy too. You can look everything you need to know for TypeScript basically from here. So under tutorial there are some examples, but I doubt that they're at your level, so we're not going to look at this. And here under handbook, this is the cool stuff, because here is information about basically everything that is featured by TypeScript: basic types, interfaces, classes, modules, when you open this, there are like Boolean numbers. We're going to talk about this later. I'm just showing you the website. This is it, typescriptlang.org, in which you can view everything you need. If you don't know how to do something, maybe you will be able to find it here. Maybe you need further looking, but it's pretty nice here. So this is the website. I showed you the web storm, so we're going to continue with the presentation. TypeScript versus JavaScript versus CoffeeScript, sorry. So this is a piece of code, you probably know it from JavaScript, you probably see it somewhere. This is the TypeScript equivalent of this horrible looking line of code, which you all hate, I'm sure, even if you don't remember right now. So why is TypeScript better than JavaScript? As I said, TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript, which allows easy transition from JavaScript to typed version of the code. TypeScript is distributed as a Node.js file, as I also said, package, sorry, and it can be trivially installed on Linux and Mac operating system. It has classes, inheritance, basic types, all this cool stuff that Java doesn't have, JavaScript doesn't have. And the disadvantages of JavaScript, because I also, like you, kind of hate it, even though I don't really understand it. JavaScript is the code of JavaScript is executed on user's computer, and in some cases this can be exploited for malicious purposes, as in you can get viruses, worms, all these kind of things you don't want on your computer. And JavaScript is sometimes interpreted differently in different browsers, which you don't have with TypeScript. Basically, every browser interprets TypeScript the same way. So, about CoffeeScript, this is another language much like TypeScript. I'm not familiar with it. I never seen it before. I just made a research and it popped out. So I'm gonna show you really quick the website of it, because I cannot really talk about it. Here you can see it. It's again, I believe, a JavaScript superset. And here you can just see a piece of code in CoffeeScript, and here is its equivalent on JavaScript. I'm going to show you this with TypeScript as well, but on the demos. And here, as you can see, it's a lot easier and a lot basic, much more basic than JavaScript. So if you want to, you can just look at this website. You can get familiar with CoffeeScript. Most probably it's not gonna be unnecessary. And moving on with the cool stuff, we're gonna write some code now. First, let me explain, like basic types. In TypeScript is strongly typed, unlike JavaScript. This means that you get all these different, unlike JavaScript where everything is an object. Here you actually have a string, a Boolean, array. I'm sure you're familiar with this stuff, what any of this means, but I'm going to show you on TypeScript how to use it. Sorry. This is another thing. So I'm going to open now a new project in WebStorm. I'm going to assign it introduction TypeScript demo. Introduction to TypeScript demo. Okay, this has to be just so we're fine with it. We're gonna open it in a new window, and here, as I show you, we have to prepare our WebStorm to work with TypeScript. Because you don't really need this, but for some features you do. and I have them in the demo, so I have to do this, but it's better to do it just so you can use everything that is in the code. So this is an empty project, and now we're gonna start with basic types. I'm gonna show you some things. It's pretty easy, not gonna take too much time in it. Yes, when you want to put a TypeScript file, just right click here, new, and there is this TypeScript file. Just open it, you name your file basic types, and you create it. So this is it, and when you start writing some code here, I'll zoom it. Okay, sorry. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna make it bigger. So basic types, you know them from C# probably. Not probably, you should know them. But you have in TypeScript, you have, for example, you can set a variable which is age, let's say, and it has to be a number. And let's say we are age 18, we are legal. So this, in this way, you set a variable, you give it a type here, as you can see. It's of type variable age, it's of type number, and you can give it a value, or you can just leave it like this and use it later. It's also okay. On the next line, you can get age equals 18, and it's still fine, whatever you want. You can, I prefer the other way because you save one line of code. When you have to write 1000, it's a bit inconvenient to waste space. So this is for the number. You have strings, for example, name is a string, and it equals, sorry, okay, perfect. I'm gonna write my name here. This is a string. What else? You have boolean, you have array, you have okay, I'm gonna show you one boolean, so it's everything. So is alive, for example, of type boolean, and it is alive. Sorry. So declaring array is really easy. In TypeScript, you just say, for example, array of bunnies. I hear you guys like bunnies, so we're gonna use bunnies. And this is of type array. Sorry, array. No, not that. This. Okay. So it's of type array. So you can introduce like this, or I'm pretty sure that you can do it also just like this, which is also fine. This means that this is an empty array of bunnies. It's the same like this one, but it looks more compact. Not this one, and this one also works. Okay, so no, it doesn't work. Okay, so like this. So I prefer I think you would prefer that you use this way because it's a lot easier. It looks good. It's perfect. So you have a variable of type any, which basically can take each of these values, number, string, boolean, etc., and it will be fine. It's not gonna be mad at you that you use it. So I'm just gonna show it really quick. So it's gonna be, for example, somebody, and this is of type A. And later you can say somebody equals 10 bunnies. It's gonna be okay. It says, for example, Pesho, not here, Pesho. It's really annoying. Okay, and it's gonna be okay as well. So type any, as you guessed, probably it's everything you want. And you have also enumeration. This is basically putting some names on values that later on you use. Just I'm going to show you now how you use them. So if you want enumeration, you just its enum is the keyword. You put it. You give it a name, for example, names, and then you can give it values, for example, Vasko, Marto, Gosho, and Pesho will be also here. But why are these unused again? Ah, sorry, it's my bad. This has to be this. Or no? Okay, so it's not gonna. Okay, so now if we, for example, want to say names, okay, var person equals names dot, and here you can use all the names. And if I put this, and if I want to log it, which I'm gonna show you later, it's gonna show the position in the enum, in the enumeration of the value you used. For example, now it's gonna print 0 because this is the first item. So this is a cool feature, and I forgot to show you the most important thing. When you start your TypeScript project, make sure that before you do all of these TypeScript files, you just have to add one index HTML file, which is where you're gonna load everything. This is how you get it when you create it. Everything is here for you to use. So we're gonna put it at, oh yeah, okay. We're gonna give it a title, which is going to be TypeScript demo. And here in the body is the nice part. So here, in order to use and to use all of these TS TypeScript files that you create, you have to include them here, and you do it like this. You type script, and then when you close the gap, like the bracket, it automatically shows. And here, after the right before the closing bracket, you have to give it the source of the file, which is like this, source equals, and it gives you automatically these things. I forgot the English word of it. So, and here you have to include your file. The tricky part here is that you don't have to put it .ts but JS. This is the way you do it. It's a little bit strange, but this is how it works. If you put JS, it's not gonna. If you put TS, it's not gonna work. And normally it gives you files to choose from, but now it does not, because we need to compile it first. Here. So here you put this, and you can, now this file is operational. When I compiled it, you see you perhaps notice the arrow here. When you open it, it gives you a JS file and the JS map file. I'm going to show you. So this is the JS equivalent of what I typed here. It's ridiculous. So a lot of functions here, variables, just like this, no declaration whatsoever. Here it looks better. So now let me try if I want to. Nope. .log. Let me try if this is going to work. Here, when you click it, it should open the TypeScript demo. It's okay. F12 opens the console, and nothing is here for some reason.
I think you need to recompile the TS file.
Okay. okay. It's the same. It doesn't show any mistakes. Oh yeah, okay. Thank you. So now, as you can see, when I use enumeration, it gives you whatever name I write here. It's gonna give me the position of the element. I'm gonna show you really quick. Here, Gosho, it's supposed to show me 2. Compile again. I have to do it every time. Okay. Let's show me 2. Okay, enough of this. This is pretty basic stuff. We don't really need to get too much into it. So, in order to use it, remember just to do this thing here in the HTML file. You can do it in the head also. It's not necessarily done in the body, but I think in the body is nice, because if you have some other things to load in the head, it's gonna slow you the program too much, and you don't need this. It's all about performance. So let me check with my lecture again. So I showed you strings, boolean, array, any number. Void I'm gonna show you with the methods, because with the basic types it's not really much of a big deal. It's more interesting in the methods. I'm gonna show you about it. So next on the list is functions and generics. We're gonna talk about functions, overloading with optional and default parameters, and working with generic type variables. So I'm not really into JavaScript. I know that this thing is really hard to do in JavaScript, and in TypeScript it's really easy. I'm gonna show you now. So I have to create a new TypeScript file. We're gonna call it some functions, some func, but I want to, I'm just gonna pause the video for a second. Okay, so we're back. I'll show you here if you assigned a type to a variable and you don't declare it, and you don't follow the type, what is going to do. It says, let's say is alive equals 10, and it says that type number is not assignable to type boolean. So if you declare anything else but any, because if you declare any, you can put it any type. If you declare a boolean, a string, or a number, and you give it a wrong type, it's going to throw you an error. I don't know if you can, you're not supposed to be able to, what? Nope. It still compiles. Okay, so it still compiles, but you have an error here. And that's that. I'm just gonna comment that for now. So if you declare something of basic type, make sure you follow the type. Otherwise, TypeScript will be mad with you. So I'm gonna show you here functions. Let me see my examples. Okay, functions with TypeScript. It looks pretty much like JavaScript, but yeah, not but it looks pretty much like TypeScript, like JavaScript. So if you want to create a function, you write down function. Here you give it a name, for example, some function, and here you have to give it some parameters in order for it to work. Here I'm going to show you, this is called a named function. So I'm going to assign it just like this. It's not very quality code, I know, but just for testing purposes it's okay. Sorry, I keep forgetting. I have my glasses on. So this you give it parameters, and now you want to give it a return type. It's done with these two points, this column, and here obviously we're gonna need a number of return type. I'm gonna show you later on if you do not match again the return type, what is happening with you. Okay, it's okay. So now in here we want to say return x plus y, and like this. So this is a named function. It's called later on. If you want to call it, you just write some function, you give it parameters, for example 2 and 3, and we're gonna log it now to see what happens. And here I have to include, as I told you, some func. Make sure you include the JS file, not the TS file. And now it shows 5, because 2 plus 3 is 5. Perfect. Okay, let me show you really quick. So you make a function, you name it, you give it parameters, and you give it return type. For example, if you give it a return type of something else that you give, it's gonna say that here. Okay, it's gonna say that type number is not assignable to type boolean. So if you don't match the types of the parameters and the return type, it's going to throw you an error. So make sure you follow it. You can also assign of type any, which is obviously gonna work because any is any. So this is a name function. We're just gonna rename it like this. I'm gonna show you an anonymous function now, how you can make one. So in order to do so, you add a variable, let's say add func to be one, and then you have two options. First, you can do it like this, but without the name, obviously. You can say function with parameters. Okay, let's give some names. Okay, first name, which is of type string, and the second name, which is again of type string, and after that you return this has to go down, sorry, my mistake. You have to return let's say first name plus space plus second name, and later on you just call the function, give it a parameter same way as I show you. Let first name be Pesho and second name be Petrov, and we're going to log it again so we see what happens. Pesho Petrov, here it is. So I'll show you now again how you auto-compile with TypeScript. Here on the settings, under languages and frameworks, under TypeScript, there is this box, track changes, which was unticked, and you have to tick it, and it tracks your changes and saves everything, every change you make. So even, and compiles. So even if you just put an empty line, again, it saves the changes and compiles. So that's that. This is an anonymous function, as I said. And I'm gonna show you one void function, as I promised. We again write function and say, for example, say hi. say hi needs parameters which should be, for example, a name. We have to say hi to someone, string, and the return type is a void. And now I'm going to log it just to show you what happens. For example, we write down hello plus, we call the function say hi, and the name hello Vasko. And this I have to lock. Okay. Not lock. So that's that. Sorry, what? Okay. Yes, of course. Sorry. Well, I'm just gonna write down. So we need hello plus name. Perfect. Okay, thank you. So now if we do this, nothing happens. Okay. I have to log the function. Okay. Say hi. Say hi, I said. And here we give the name. Very good. Here. Thank you. So now it should work. Oh yes, I forgot the space. Anyways, this is a void function. It works perfectly fine when you do it fine. So let me see. Okay, I'm gonna show you now how you overwrite, how overloading with optional and default parameters is done in TypeScript. So for example, I'm just gonna create a new function again. Okay, sorry, like that. I'm gonna create my new function. This is gonna be called another function. Okay, no, let's call it, I want to create a bunny. So the bunny needs a name, obviously, which is of type string, age, which is of type number. What can we have for is alive. We will not murder any bunnies, don't worry. Which is of type boolean. So here we just need these three for now. We create and we return no, we don't return anything. So this is my function, and here I'm going to say no, we return actually. Okay, we return name plus empty string plus age. I don't know how I did that. Plus empty. Sorry? Why is that? No, I just want to put a number. I just want to give it a number. I'm going to print it anyways. And the last one,
What's the return type of body?
the return type is of type any, because I have 3 variables which are different, so I have to return all of them. So it will be of type any. Nice. Yeah. Also that. So I want this. No, I don't need this. So now here I'm going to create some new bunnies, and first bunny will be of type bunny, and it's gonna have a parameters name, go show. Its age is gonna be 18, and is alive. Yes, it is alive. So second bunny I'm going to create to show you what can go wrong with the parameters. So here I create another bunny. I have to give it parameters, and I have 3 default parameters here which I have to give. This is name, age, and is alive. And for example, if I only try to give it a name, it's going to throw me an error that the supplied parameters do not match any signature of call target. This means that if you have like 3 default parameters here and you put more or less when you call it, it throws this error. It says that you have to put some more or delete some parameters. So I'm just going to leave this like this, and I'm going to create a third bunny, which is a type bunny again, and I'm going to give it some more parameters. So I'm going to give it an age also. It's going to be 10 years old. It's alive, but I also want to say that his family name is Dorf. And again, same thing happens. So when you put default parameters, you have to make sure to be with accordance when you call the function. Because if they're not, it throws an error. How you can fix that? If you, for example, for one function you need all of them, for one you need just 2, you can make parameters optional. The most important thing to know, optional parameters are put last. So first you put your default parameters, this name and age, for example here, and then if you want is alive to be optional, you just put it last, and then afterwards you can have, for example, family name, which is string. You can have 10 more here, but they all need to be optional. So how you make an optional parameter, you just right before the dots, you just put a question mark, and here it says a required parameter cannot follow an optional parameter, as I said. So optional parameters have to be put last. So in order to fix this, I just make this one optional as well, or just delete this one and put this one optional. It's the same thing. So when you put it optional, you don't need to include it when you call your target. You can, but you don't have to. It's not going to throw an error. And here it throws an error because I have one more that is required. If I put age, so now all bunnies are good to go. And this is how you do it. I'm just gonna remove this and try to show you if these are going to compile. So first bunny, I want to walk, and then the second bunny, and then the third bunny. Okay, and go here. Let me check real quick. Yeah, okay, I included it. So when I go here, so this is what happens. First two bunnies are okay. I mean first and third, sorry, are okay, but Pesho is undefined, and this is because I have only one parameter and I'm required to put 3 in total. If I make them optional,
Still returns them.
sorry. Okay, so they were undefined because I put them in the return type, but I don't give them any values here. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna give a variable here. New age is going to be called, and it's gonna be of type age or 0. And here I have to include the new age. Same thing we do for is alive. I don't know. Is alive or 0 or false. Sorry. True story. And here I need is it alive. So now it should work. Yes, it works. Perfect. Okay, so with these parameters, this is basically what can go wrong. You have to make sure that you supply enough parameters as you're asked to. Something else here. Yeah, okay. So another way, yeah, I forgot this. Okay, another way of creating a function in TypeScript is called lambda. You probably heard of it. You probably didn't. I'm gonna show you now. So instead of typing function every time you just declare a variable which is gonna be lambda function. So now instead of typing in function and here giving it parameters or whatsoever, you can just type in like this brackets and then put this sign here and these brackets. So basically this means here you can supply parameters. For example, you want it to have a name, this function, and here you return the name. And this thing is the same like this one, or not like exactly like this one, but okay, like this one, for example, because it's simpler. You can also do this like with lambda like that. It's gonna work. I'm gonna show you. No, not. And here I have to give it a name. Gosho we have, okay, Marto. So this is called lambda, this expression. It means it's the same like function, but it's, I don't know, it looks better. If you don't want to type in function and all these kind of things, you can just use this. Anything else with the functions? I think that's that. If you want to, you can just practice. You can make a practice project with TypeScript when you get home and just see whatever you can break in the function and how you can fix it. I don't know. I cannot really think of something else. If someone wants to see something else about the functions. No? Okay. How are we with the break? Okay, we're good. Do you want to go on a break before generics? Or after generics? Okay, so we go for a break. So we continue now. We explained functions and overloading with optional default parameters. Now we're gonna work with generic type variables, which is the, if I can say so, the hard part of this lecture. So I'm gonna show you some graphs, and with vertices. Do you know what a graph is? Probably yes. Yes. Okay. So it's fine. So I'm going to create a new TypeScript file. I'm gonna call it graph. I don't need this. So generic. I'm gonna zoom it so you see it. So I create my first a class. Later on I'm going to explain about classes. First I'm just going to create it now, and you're not going to ask me why is that and why it's not that. I'm just going to do it now. Later on I will explain you. So first I create my class of graph, and in order for it to be generic I have to include this in it. So this means that the class graph is of type generic. This is the indication of generic. I think you can put any letter in here, and yes, it's still gonna be generic. But just put a letter in this square, no, but pointy brackets, let's call them, and your class becomes generic. So on the class graph, just let me see. I want a variable in here which is going to be vertices, and it's also going to be generic of type vertex of type generic. I don't have vertex. I'm going to create it now. We're gonna use them both. Vertex, I don't need this. And I'm gonna make class vertex, again of type generic. So here I still get an error, cannot find name vertex. This is, you have to create a reference. This I'm gonna show you later, but for now you have to create a reference. The references you have to include here, and it's with 3 slashes. It looks like this. I'm going to show you now. It looks like this. This is called reference path, so it knows where to look for vertex, and so I can use it in this class. It's here, this class vertex. No. This class vertex. When I add a reference path in another class, I can use this vertex freely. So we add vertices. We need a constructor, of course, for our class, which will need parameters. I'm going to call them given set of vertices, and it's going to be of type, again, vertex generics, and it's going to be an array. So this is my constructor in here. So this is my graph. I'm gonna include vertices in my graph, and this is the way I do it. So I need these things in order for it to be okay. Okay. So in this constructor, I just have to say these vertices to be equal to given set of vertices or an empty array. So this is my constructor for the graph, and I'm gonna put some things in vertex first. So we can use it. We need a value for the vertex, which is going to be of type t. We can have a color, for example, which is going to be of type number, but I'm not going to really use it, but I just show you what it can include, so I'm going to put it last. Here I also need, in order to be a graph, I need neighbors. Neighbor or neighbors, it's the same. And this is going to be of type vertex of t. With this, and it's going to be an array. With this, I will check if a vertex has neighbors. I can add neighbors and etc. if I need them, of course. And I'm gonna need a constructor in this class also, which needs a value, which is t, needs neighbors, which is of type vertex of t. Array, and I will include color, but I'll make it optional because I'm not gonna use it here. And inside this constructor, I'm just gonna say that this value, the one that I add here as a parameter, I want it to equal value of the constructor. For neighbor, I want it to be an array, a new array, of course. And so I don't need this. Okay, I'm just gonna do it like this, or not. So I'm gonna use it like this. Okay, and I'm gonna say that this color should be color, but I'm not gonna use it. I say again. So this is basically all I need for the vertex: a constructor with a value and neighbors, and some, like, you can have 10 or more variables in here if you need them. I don't need anything of this, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. This is enough. Yes, vertices. Okay. And again, no, it's not. I'm gonna recompile it. And it should work fine. Okay, it's fine now. So this is my constructor for the graph, and I'm just gonna have some methods here to draw my graph, or to add it. I'm not gonna draw anything. First is gonna be add vertex, of course, which needs to have needs to have a value, which is of type t. Also needs a neighbor, we set. Neighbor, which is of type array. And a color, which is optional, which is of type number. This I cannot do. Neighbor needs to be a vertex of t, and it needs to be an array.
Neighbors.
Is it neighbors or neighbor? Oh, it's neighbors. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So now I'm gonna say that the new vertex which I will add, I want it to be of type new vertex with a value a neighbors. I'm gonna put this optional because I don't need it right now. I'll show you later why. Here I also want it to be optional. So, and color I don't also need. I'm just gonna include it, whatever. Or not, I'm not gonna include it. So I only need value. So in the add vertex method, I'm going to make these vertices for each. I'm gonna need this method in order to see if this vertex has an array. No, sorry. And to add values to the vertices. So I tell it for each value in vertices, I want you to do some stuff. So this is how you write a for each. Here, maybe you know it, maybe you don't. Now you know it. So here, for each v in vertices, I want to know if the value of v is equal to the vertex value. I want it to throw me an error. Throw new error. This is how you throw errors in TypeScript. Just write this, and here you write the message, and I say you are not allowed to have same values. Vertices with same values. And that's that. And I need the semicolon after this, and I just say this dot vertices dot push, and I push vertex because I have an array. So this method is gonna fill my graph with vertices. It's gonna check if there are two vertices with the same value, and it's gonna throw me an error. Otherwise, it's just gonna push everything in the graph. So moving on. For the graph, what else do we need except vertices? Anyone knows? For the graph? Edges, yes, good point. So we're going to add undirected edge, which needs yes, it's not, but first I'm going to add a directed edge. Directed edge, okay. This needs a starting point, and it's gonna be it's gonna start from t, and it needs an endpoint, which is also gonna be t, but I'm gonna say 2, not end, because I won't draw it. So in this, I say var v from means vertex from, but I'm gonna use it like this. And I say from this dot vertices of type find this dot. I'm gonna create later a method which will show you how it's gonna find values in the vertices, and it's gonna draw edges from it. It's gonna be called find by value method. Actually, I'm just gonna create it now. It's gonna be better. So find by value. In this method I need a value which is going to be again of type generic t. And in this method I want a simple for loop which goes around the length of the vertices. This dot vertices dot length. So this is a simple for loop. You all know it, I'm sure. And in here I want to say if these vertices of e of index dot value equals value, I want you to return e. Otherwise, return nope. Return no. This has to be outside the for loop. Very good. So this is my method. I'm gonna find values of vertices and I'm gonna draw edges from one value to another. Here, this, yes. Oh, this, yes. So this is from, and I need 1, 2, which is going to be the same. But it's gonna be 2. So this is for the directed edge. And I also want to push neighbors, just to see if there are any neighbors. There should be, because I draw edges. V from neighbors dot push v2. So whenever this method draws an edge, a directed edge, it pushes the neighbor of the vertex. For example, if you have 1 and 2 and it draws an edge, so 1 becomes neighbor of 2 and 2 becomes neighbor of 1. Yes, I can draw it. So if you have one vertex here, you have one vertex here, you draw an edge, a directed edge from 2. So this one becomes neighbor of this one if the direction is here. And if it's otherwise, this one becomes neighbor of this one. Pretty basic stuff. And here I want to also add undirected edges. Again, from t to again t, generics. And what I need here is, I'm just gonna call this method that I used, and I'm gonna say it starts from, and it ends to. I also need one more, because undirected edge means both ways. So I need one from to from. Edge, yes, not edges. Okay, sorry. So this is my methods here for the graph. This is everything you need. For the vertex, it's pretty simple. You just add vertices with a value and neighbors. And for the graphs, you need a constructor for the graph. You need some methods to add vertex, to add edges, and to find by value, so you don't go here. So what we need to do right now, it's pretty annoying. Okay. So I'm gonna set an entry point in which we're gonna create our graph, which is here. So what I need is a reference first, but there's really an easier way to just, like, you have to do like this. Sorry. Reference path equals graph.ts. So this is what you need. I don't know why you don't like me. Ah, yeah, okay, I know why. This is what you need, but there is really much easier way. I'm going to show you later on. I'm just going to leave it like that here because I need it. So I want a new graph, which is going to be a variable graph, and is going to be of type new graph of numbers, number, and that's that. Why don't you like me? It says I need a value. It does not match.
Optional.
Oh yeah, okay. I have to make this optional because I don't need it. And yes, now it's fine. So for this, when I do this, I just type in graph, and I can call the method add vertex, and I'm creating a new graph of numbers. So I'm just gonna add numeric values here. I do a bit more. Do you know how this is done? How you can do this? Okay, good. So I'm gonna show you later. I added some vertices to the graph. Now I need to connect them with edges, which is gonna be the same way. I just need undirected edge. Sorry. This. So I want to connect these two, these two, these two, and finally not this one, and finally this. Yeah, for example, this. And this is the most simple graph you have ever seen, but I will show you that it works correctly now. Let me just clean some stuff here from the console because it's already quite polluted, especially here. This I don't need. This I don't need. I don't need also. This I don't need. So I have walked my graph, so now when I refresh and execute the code, nothing will happen. Oh no, yes. This is exactly why you should always remember to add everything like here. So I need to add graph.js. I need to add vertex.js. And I need to add entry point.js. So, and now, and voila. You have your graph here. It's an array of 4 elements. You have vertices. When you open them, here is the vertex of index 0. This is the vertex value 1. Here you can see them. This one has 3 neighbors. Basically everything you need to know you can see here about the graph. As you can see, it works. So I'm just going to close it for now. So that's that about generics. You can create your personal graph or whatever you want later on. So we are moving on. Next on the list is classes and inheritance. We're going to talk about classes nope, it's for later. Classes, inheritance, private and public, and getter and setter. So let's get back to the WebStorm. I'm gonna show you how to create classes. I showed you here, but I'm gonna show you again. Okay. We're gonna do it for inheritance. You saw. Basically, to create a class, you give it a name, which is good to be the same as your TS as here. This one. It's not necessary, but it's good. It's quality code. So this is the class. You can add variables here. You can declare them. For example, if you need it, for example, you need a name for some reason, which can be of type string. You might need age, which is a number, of course, and like 10 more whatsoever. And later on, the interesting here is if you declare a variable in the class like this, when you create a method, for example, new created method, if you want to assign a value to this here name, you have to use the this keyword and you have it. If you don't, it's gonna throw you an error here because name is nothing, and here it's just gonna remain unrecognizable. But when you type this name equals Marto, and that's that. So if you declare it here, you just remember to put this. The WebStorm and TypeScript is going to remind you, so I doubt that you're going to forget it. So inheritance, how it's done, it's pretty simple. Let's create a class to be of class animals. Animal, okay. And here we need a private name of this animal, which is going to be a string. Of course, we also need a constructor for the class, which will take the name, which is string, and nothing else at this point. So now in the constructor we say that this name equals the name. This is how you make it, and we're gonna create here a method called move, and it's gonna be with parameters meters, which is going to be a number, and I can add it a value also here. Yeah, of course. So this one should be here, and now it should be fine. And here I'm going to log that this name plus keyword moved, not keyword but just word, sorry, and meters, and to be precise we're gonna do it like this. So this is my class for animals. Moving on about inheritance, if I want to use the parameters from this method, I have to inherit it, which in TypeScript is pretty simple. And if I want to make a new class bunny, I just say that this class extends class animal, and that's it. This is what inheritance is, and there is another important thing about it. Let me just get these things done, and I'm going to show you. Again, I have a constructor here. I need a name, which is going to be bunny name this time. String, not strong. And here I tell it with the keyword super that I want this bunny name to be the same like this name. So this is how you do it. In order to extend the class, you need to include super, and you need to take the values from this constructor here. Otherwise, it's not going to be extended at all. So I want to make it move again, this bunny, and it's gonna be with some meters. Let's say, I don't know, 6. This is a class, of course, a method, sorry. And I want again to inherit the movement here. So I use super move. That's that. That's the first one, and then I'm going to create another one because I want to. It's gonna be horse. It's gonna be like a race. Again, an animal. Extends animal again because this is my main class. I want this to inherit. Sorry, not this one. This class. So again, I need a constructor, a horse name, which is gonna be funny, which is also a string, and this has to take also the name. This you have to do like this, but I'm just saving space because I really need only one word here, so it's okay like this. It's pretty easy to read it. I'm gonna put it like this. Okay. And yes, of course, the brackets. So this is the proper way to do it. Also, I want the horse to move, of course, with meters. Okay, the bunny is 6, the horse should be, I don't know, 30 maybe, 40. Okay, let's make it 40. And this one is also a method, and this one also should super move meters. Basically the same thing. So I have now one class, and I have two classes that extend or inherit this class. So what I can do here is first the bunny, of course, is gonna be named Pesho, nothing else. And this one will be of type new bunny, and I have to give it a name, which, as we said, is gonna be Pesho. Next I need a horse, who's going to be named Gosho. There, so I have a new bunny and a new horse, and now I want them to move, which is pretty simple. I just say, Pesho, you move with 6 meters, and Gosho, you move with 40 meters. I can put a value here. It's also gonna be fine. It's gonna print this value. I'm gonna show you. Okay, I'm just gonna show you the default, and then I'm gonna change it so you see it. And now I want this, but first I want to walk this. Come on. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. This one. Sure. So I go to index.html. I do like this, because if you don't do this, you're not gonna see anything, and you're gonna wonder why, and it's gonna take your time pretty badly. So, no, this is not the name I gave you. I didn't move at all. Okay, I'm just gonna pause and figure why this happens, or I don't know if I can. Okay, so we figured it out. You figured it out, not me. I have to not give it a name, but I want it to have a bunny and a horse name. And now it should work fine. Yes. So Pesha moved 6 meters, Gosho moved 40 meters. This is inheritance. Just remember to use extends and in the constructor, and you have to use this keyword super also. And I'm gonna show you now the JavaScript file, which looks like this. You have here some variables, some functions with underscores. It's ridiculous. We don't want to see it anymore, do we? I think enough it's enough. Okay. So this is about inheritance. I'm gonna show you. Let me check with my private and public. This I'm gonna show you later. All the classes you create are public. And let me actually try it. If I say that this class is private, I'm gonna get an error that you cannot appear on a module element. So all classes are private and you can make them public. I'm gonna show you later on how. And last for classes is getters and setters. I'm gonna show you really quick how to do this. For this one, as I told you earlier, you need ECMAScript 6, because otherwise you won't be able to use getters and setters. Okay. So we create another class. This is pretty simple. You're gonna find out. Another class bunny, but this time get bunny. And this class, I just use a private bunny name again. Okay. I use a private bunny name, which is of type string, of course. And here I can say get full name of bunny, which is a method, and it's of type string. It's a function, sorry, not a method. It's of type string, and I want it to return this bunny name. That's the getter. And I will create one setter. This it's set. Sorry, full name. I need here to give it a new name, which is of type string. And here I want to say if new name dot length is less than or equals 3, I want it to throw me a new error. I was gonna show you. Okay, let me finish this and I'm gonna show you. I just remembered. And this is going to be, I don't know, unauthorized update of bunny. We're gonna make it more James Bond style. So this is it, and if not, I want it just to set this bunny name to new name. So that's it. And here I'm gonna log it. Let's say bunny dot no. We make a new bunny. Bunny equals get bunny. It has to be outside the class, of course. I don't have any parameters here. I don't have constructor, so I don't need to put. What do you want? Yes, I forgot the keyword new. Thank you, TypeScript. So I create a new bunny, and I want this bunny's new name, full name, sorry, to be. Okay, first we're gonna try a normal name like Pesho. Not this, Pesho. And I want to say if bunny.fullname I want you to log me console log bunny full name, and this is how we're gonna use it. I'm just gonna show you real quick that this by default is assigned to 40, I think. Yes. Yeah, okay. So here it's the default is 40. We can see it like this. Yes, but if I add it 30, for example, it's still gonna work fine. So let's check it out. So this worked. Pesho is also here. Everything. So here I'm giving it a length that is more than 3 characters. I'm gonna show you if my bunny is called A. It throws me an error, unauthorized update of bunny. So we're not gonna do that. So this is about the getters and setters. It's pretty easy here. And moving on. Yes. The question was, how do you use get? It's the same like set, but you only get the value. You don't change it. You don't need any if else anything. You just get full name. When you give it full name, it just returns this bunny name, whatever you give it. Yes, exactly. Yes.
When we declare variables within the class, like public or private, whatever, don't we have to use the keyword var, or is
when you the question was if you have to use var if you declare variables in the class, and the answer is no. If you declare them here in the like in the class itself and not in a method, you don't have to use for. You can just declare them like this, and later on to use them you have to use this keyword. If you declare them in a method like here, it won't work. For example, no, I have already named, for example, house, two types, boolean. It says that it cannot find name boolean, and this is unnecessary label. So if you declare them in a method, you need to make it with a var. But can't find. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Like this, and you can give it some value here, true or false. True, for example. This is how you do it. But if you declare them in the class, you don't need to use var. You just need to set a type, otherwise it won't work. So, moving on. Last but not least, we have modules, not to be confused with models, of course. This is pretty simple. In TypeScript, this is the namespace. So I'm gonna use this graph here. So you have this class, graph and vertex and everything, but you want to put them in the same namespace. If you have a big project, you probably know that it's best to use namespaces. So in order to do that, just at the beginning, you make a module, you name it, and then you also need these curvy brackets here as well. And here, in order, as I said, I'm going to show you how to make a class public. In order for this class to be perfect, it has to have the keyword export in front of it. So this basically means that you put this class in a namespace, you make it public so you can use it later on. And in order to use now this class, which I call here is gonna get mad at me because it says that cannot find name graph even though I have reference. When you have module namespace, module, I'm gonna call it module, it's called module in TypeScript. When you have module, you just, in order to call the class in it, you have to do it like this. You have to include the name of the module, dot, graph, and now it's fine. Pretty easy, nothing special. And that's about the module. You can put. The question is what happens if you don't put export. The class remains private, and I don't think you can use it. Simple graph dot graph is not a function. It says that property graph does not exist on type of simple graph. So if you don't put export, it's not gonna be public class and you cannot be able to use it, is the answer. So this is about modules. It's pretty easy. I think you all got it. Yes. The question is, if it's for a property, is it also export? What do you mean? No, you just use private. Yes. I think by default the variables here are public, so you don't need public. If you want to make them private, you can add private, but by default I think they're public. I'm pretty sure. So it's, if you write this or write public, as you can see nothing happens. You should also only write private or public. No, for the variables it's private and public. For the classes it's nothing or export. Nothing is private, export is public. So that's about modules. Pretty basic stuff. Let me return to my PowerPoint. So now you got to the secret bonus round, which is called Be Cool with WebStorm. I promised I'm gonna do this. If you are interested or not, it doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna show you anyways. I'm gonna show you some cool hotkeys that you can use, and you're gonna feel like really big shot programmer, developer, and people are gonna like you. So under settings, here there is this thing, key map. If you click it, here you get all the key maps. It's important, if you want to use these ones that I'm gonna show now, you have to put your key maps to Visual Studio. Otherwise, they are different on every one. For example, these ones, as you can see, they change. The default are completely different ones, so just put them on Visual Studio and you can use these ones I'm gonna show you. I don't have them included anywhere. There are thousands of them. I think here you have more and more for the main menu, for this, for the code, for programming, this for the menu. Lots of keywords, hotkeys, sorry. So I'm just gonna show you some of the coolest, and if you want, you can just look the rest here if you're interested or no. So what should I promised to show you how this is done. So this is basically when you have your cursor on a line and you press Ctrl and D, it copies the same line on the bottom line. Ctrl and D. So if you have an empty line, it's gonna copy empty lines. And this is pretty useful if you, for example, need to rewrite this thing and you don't really want to rewrite it, but you have to change this stuff here. You just copy it and you just change one parameter. It's pretty neat. So, sorry?
Does it work for two lines?
Yes, it works for as much lines as you mark. So you can copy whole classes 10 times, whatever. Yes?
It puts it at the end of the selection.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't put it on the line.
So you can just mark the new line after it and just do this. It puts it at the end of the, of the selected. If you don't select anything, it's gonna put it on the new line. If you select something, it's only gonna use this. So this is one stuff. For example, else cool is if you have this private name here and you want to change this variable to be called, I don't know, super name. You get all these errors here that everywhere that you use name is gonna crack. So what you can do, just put your cursor on top of the word you want, and when you put out and J exactly, it highlights the word, and then next time you put J, it goes to this word where it is. So now when you do this, you can put, for example, here this one to be called, as I said, super name, and you correct everything.
Does it highlight the word or the bar or the
The word. It highlights the word like this.
Questa non menu deve andare poi in short
This one you mean?
I mean, so up here, up there,
Yes.
You have super name.
Yes.
Okay,
This
so
one.
if you, if you just
No.
do the name, is it gonna?
Ah, okay. It works.
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect.
select it.
I thought it won't work.
You have to finish the
So, and when you do it, and you change what you want, ultra, I'm gonna add here, and as you can see, you have 3 cursors here, which is inconvenient if you want to type code. So you just press escape, and then you get your cursor here. When you hold down Alt, you can put cursors throughout the code as much as you want. Here, you can put lots of them, and then when you press Shift and Delete, it deletes a big chunk of your code, which you don't want. This, there we go. So what else?
Change the line on your own.
You press Enter. Sorry. What do you mean?
Yes, make this when you name equals new
Swapping
to the
lines.
next line.
This-
After the bracket.
Okay, so you hold Control Shift and then the arrows, and it can go wherever you want.
emotion port.
Yes, you can move the whole, not this. You can move the whole class here or here. So this something you have if you have this thing, for example, no, I don't want to ruin it, I just want to show it. So when your code is not organized properly, you just highlight all of it, you press Control Alt and F, and it is going to be nice and tight from now on. So what else? If you have your cursor here, for example, and you want to select the word, the constructor word, you just press Control and W and it selects the word. If you continue pressing it, it's going to select more and more. Here it's going to select the line. If you put it, for example, if you want to select this whole method without doing this, you just place your cursor here on this line here. You see it? This line? You put the cursor, and when you press Control and W, it selects the whole line, the whole chunk of code. So with Control O, you open a new project if you want to. I'm not going to do this now. Something. Yeah, okay. If you want to compile your code, normally if you have this, the one we put, I forgot the name, sorry, if you have this, normally you're gonna, first time you open your TypeScript file, you're gonna have space here, up here, and it's gonna say, like, it's got the whole line, and it's gonna say if you want to enable TypeScript compiler or whatever. If you don't get it, if you press double shift, like 2 times you press shift, and then this is the search everywhere. So here you can search for classes, for example, animal, and it finds you this. You have this cool, nice this thing. If you need a specific color, you can search it here if you like it. Here is it. Here you have the RGB value. Here you have the hashtag value. Yeah, with double shift, if you don't have this compile, you just type in compile and you get here the actions, which are for TypeScript, and you have compile run actions, and they are TypeScript compile all or TypeScript compile current file or folder. I just press all, it doesn't matter. For example, if you delete this JS and map.js file, this file is not going to work, but when you compile it. They're back there. That's that. What is this thing? I'm doing this with Control Z. I think everybody knows it. Super name, no, just name, private. Okay. Something else. When you have your cursor on a line with Shift and Delete, you delete the whole line, like this. If you want to not to move like character by character, you hold down Control and it moves the whole word. If you hold Shift, it's gonna highlight the whole word. And if you, it's with left and right arrows, and if you put up and down arrows, it's gonna go up and down. What else? So basically, if you want to, for example, you have here, not here, where did I put this one? Sorry, not here. Okay, here. Not here. I'm just gonna look it really quick. Here. If I want to change the whole tree like these things, I can draw you can hold the middle button, the scroll, and when you go down it makes more cursors on every line. You can also do it without. When you hold down Alt and with the left key, it gives you cursors. So if you want to highlight words, for example, here I want to only delete the Y on each 3 lines. Does someone know how maybe I can do this without using the mouse? So you just highlight all, you put right, and now you can delete all of it with Control W. Or you just want to delete. Also works like if you have the same thing like this, and if you highlight it, then you can click End, and it's gonna go on at the end of the line. It's gonna arrange perfectly for you to ruin your code at several different locations. And as I said, I'm going to show you again if someone is interested. Here is the key map under settings. It's out, and F7 is the settings. Something else. So if I have this, for example, this graph class here, it's called graph T. I want to change its name, but I also want to do it on every instance of this. Okay, I want to change it on every instance, everywhere I have it. I just click Shift and F6 and nothing happens. No, it's Shift F6, but nothing happens. I'm gonna try it here. Yes, and you get the refactor. So add vertex now. No. Add vertex now. And when you refactor, it's gonna change everywhere. You have it here, it changed the method, and now here under entry point, it's also, you get this message, you load system files, and you also change it here. If you have a method here, like here for example, and you need to add parameters in it, but you don't really know what you need to add. For example, here you have a constructor with 10 parameters and you're completely lost. When you put your cursor down on the word and you press Control, Shift and Space, you get this sweet message here, which shows you what parameters do you need to put inside the brackets, and should there be any optionals, and when you go in, it says which one are you following. As you can see, it highlights it. Yes, here here. So I have to put. No, sorry, I pressed something wrong. Yes. So here I need to put a value. I need to put a neighbor, a vertex. Yes, a neighbor, which is optional, as you can see here. So I don't really need it, but I can put it. And at the end, I can put a color, which is also optional. And as you go in to put methods, it highlights. If I do this, I need another one. If I do this, I'm gonna be at the third one. So this is Control Shift and Space. If you have like here, for example, 10 or 20 different TypeScript files, and you need to look where you initiate this method, where you put it, but you cannot remember, you can put Alt, Shift, and F7, and it shows you the usages of this method. Nice. Okay, so I also learned something new. So this is a lot easier, yes. The other one is, if it's okay for methods, this is of course the easiest. This. So if I click it here, okay, so it's the same. Okay. So and these are you introduce the variable here, and when you hold Control, when you click on it, you get to see where you use it. This one we use a lot. So something else. I think so. No, this. So this one you can do it, but you have to go through the settings and see from where you can do it. I'm not really sure about this, but I'm going to show you something else which is cool. If you go under Editor, under General, you have these smart keys here, and if you tick this box around selection on type quote or brace, okay. When you tick it, if you have, for example, I want to, I don't know, put this method in another method. If I highlight it and I press the opening bracket of a method, it's going to put my home method in brackets. And here I can, for example, let me show you. Yes, exactly, let me show you. So if I want to put these two things in an if, I'm going to say if something something, and then I highlight everything I want in it, and I put it in these brackets, and it's okay. Now it doesn't work because I need to add something here, but not today. So this is another one. I'm trying to think of something else. There are really a lot of them, so if you're interested into looking them up, you can do it. And I think if we move on, that's that. So any questions from the audience? Maybe something that I didn't explain so good, or you didn't understand, or no? Okay.